hello. Good night. Oh, it's 11:11, y'all. I don't know why I said that. It's 11:11. Do with y'all. Do with that what you will. See, this is why. Ugh. I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, hello, people. Welcome to day 56. We are getting started. It is a new day. It is almost the end of the new day, so let's just jump right in. Let's just jump right in. We're gonna do Deuteronomy 10 through 12 and Psalms 56. There was a devotional video. That devotional video is in the description. The link is there. It talks about love. It talks about the Old Testament style of love. In this video, we'll explore the various ways the Hebrew authors use the word love and how they depicted God as the ultimate source and goal of all human love. Now, I appreciated that it talked about the various forms of love, because Hollywood will have you believing that the best form of love, the form of love we all crave, the only love we know when we have, is when we are in a loving relationship, or maybe even sometimes just a relationship, and that's supposed to be your goal, you know? So Hollywood would have us spoon-fed that narrative of our loved ones are our partners. But then, you get some good stories where you find out, I mean, there's some occasional good stories, but I appreciate love that's sold to me as communal love, as like love for community, as like, the whole block come together to save the local barbershop, kind of love. Like the kind of love that brings people together to repair a farm because they don't want to see the farm leave their family or community, or get like sold and paved over. They'd rather. I like the kind of love that brings everyone together kind of love. The like we have the same mission kind of love. The I'm gonna appreciate you through your mess because I know you as a brother kind of love. But that's the kind of love I actually a lot of the forms of love I suck at. I'm just gonna put that out there. Me and community, I have a hard time with it. It is more of a mental game than anything else. I'm aware. I am aware. And that is a stronghold I will get to breaking down at some point. But for now, I'm just going to acknowledge that it's there and take my distance from it. Because that's how I operate. I like my distance and my alone time and my space. And I lack communication skills for the 21st century. That's all. Okay. Yes, I said we were going to jump in and I digressed. So let's go. Deuteronomy 10, a new copy of the covenant. At the time the Lord said to me, chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones. Also make a wooden ark, a sacred chest to store them in. Come up to me on the mountain, and I will write on the tablets the same words that were on the ones you smashed. Then place the tablets in the ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood and cut 2 stone tablets like the first 2. Then I went up to the mountain with the tablets in my hand. Once again, the Lord wrote the 10 commandments on the tablets and gave them to me. They were the same words the Lord had spoken to you from the heart of the fire on the day you were assembled at the foot of the mountain. Then I turned and came down the mountain and placed the tablets in the ark of the covenant, which I had made just as the Lord commanded me, and the tablets are still in the ark. The people of Israel, this quotate parentheses, the people of Israel set out from the wells of the people of Jachan and traveled to Mosera, where Aaron died and was buried. His son Eleazar ministered as high priest in his place. Then they journeyed to Goda, from there to Jotbatha, a land with many brooks and streams. At the time the Lord set apart the tribe of Levi to carry the ark of the Lord's covenant, and to stand before the Lord as his ministers, and to pronounce blessings in his name. These are the duties of that day. These are their duties to this day. That is why the Levites have no share of property or possessions of the land among the other Israelite tribes. The Lord himself is their special possession, as the Lord your God told them. As for me, I stayed on the mountain in the Lord's presence for 40 days and nights, as I had done the first time. And once again the Lord listened to my pleas and agreed not to destroy you. Then the Lord said to me, get up and resume the journey. Don't we like how resume and resume are the same word, but somehow we already know? Anyway, get up and resume the journey and lead the people to the land I swore to give to their ancestors, so that they may take possession of it. A call to love and obedience. Now, Israel, what does the Lord your God require of you? He requires only that you fear the Lord your God and live in a way that pleases him, and love him and serve him with all your heart and soul. And you must always obey the Lord's commands and decrees that I am giving you today for your own good. I like that. What do I put that in? Yeah, I like that. Okay, whatever. This is a block of text that's like, yo, this is what you have to do. This is what the Lord is requiring of you, Israel. This is what the Lord is requiring of the people he made a covenant promise with. This is what the Lord is requiring of the people he brought out of Egypt and broke bondage chains over. This is like it, you know? But that line where it says he requires only that you fear the Lord your God and live in a way that pleases him. So, like, my question is for the fear of God. Not question. I replace the word fear with reverence, that you revere the Lord your God. Because that's what connects it to me. That's what starts to make sense for me to understand, like, what do you mean in terms of fear? Fear what? Fear how? It's a word that, like, we're not common. It's not a common usage of that definition, fear, in this day and age. So it's always been hard for me to be like, oh, he wants you to fear him. I'm like, I don't want to fear I don't fear the Lord. But I do revere him, and I hold him with high regards. I respect him. I believe wisdom comes from him. I believe a lot of the wisdom that is new age wisdom that is passed down, passed through, whatever, is just distilled versions of, not distilled, actually diluted versions of the Lord's teachings. There is so much that I believe in terms of, like, yo, this, that, and the third it truly actually comes from the Lord. Let's dig out and let's get to the root of that. So I have high regard, respect for him, which means yes, I fear in those terms. Live in a way that pleases him, and love him and serve him with all of your heart and soul. You must always obey the Lord's commands and decrees that I am giving you today on for your own good. So like the other thing is it's for your own good. When you're obeying base level, humans have free will. We know it, we flex it all the time. It's a given, right? Humans have free will. But when you obey someone who's trying to raise you, you're obeying them not for their power trip, if it's a healthy relationship, not for their power trip, but for the sake of your own good and your own safety and your own health and your own protection. You know, usually in a healthy relationship, that's what you could expect. That's what you do expect. So that's the faith that I have, is that when I obey God, I am doing so in terms of like, I know that's my heavenly Father. He's the Father of my spirit. He's the Father of my being. He is trying to raise me in safety and in protection. In that doesn't mean that he'll keep me from all trials and tribulations. It just means as I go through them, he will be there for me to help guide me through them. He would have hopefully given me the wisdom to surpass them on my own, but I don't need to be on my own. I could always call for him for help if I was in a situation where it surpassed my own capabilities, which is often, because like, what are my own capabilities, really? But even when I can get through it, quote unquote, on my own, but when I say on my own, I mean with the wisdom he already instilled in me to get through the moment. Then I have to be like, thanks, because I got through it on my own out of what you taught me already. So yeah, live in a way that pleases him. That's a big one too. Live in a way that pleases him is like a little vague right now, but I guess I'll figure that out later. And then love it with all your heart and soul. And there's a lot of reference between heart and soul. So like we know that those are two different entities. We got mind, heart, soul. I feel like those are different entities, because sometimes you be thinking thoughts that your soul do not resonate with, and breaking your heart, like, you know, maybe it's just me, who knows. But that's the kind of that love, when you experience that love of just being wanted in the good and the bad, wanting to share the space with that person you love, wanting to be around that person you love. In the tough and the ease, you want to be around that person you love. In the confusion, in the anger, frustration, you want to be around that person you love. Because ultimately, once all of those emotions pass and subside, there will still be love. And when that love is uncovered and can shine again, it's unveiled, you're thankful that you're with the person you love. Deuteronomy 10:14. Look, the highest heavens and the earth and everything in it belong to the Lord your God. Yet the Lord chose your ancestors as the objects of his love, and he chose you, their descendants, above all other nations, as is evident today. Therefore, change your hearts and stop being stubborn. It's all of verse 16 says, therefore, change your hearts and stop being stubborn. I love it. Let's go with that one. I love it. I'm sorry. I just want this. I want this on. Yeah, I want it on a t-shirt or something. I just want it. Therefore, change your hearts and stop being stubborn. Yeah, okay. For the Lord your God is the God of gods and Lord of lords. He is the great God, the mighty and awesome God, who shows no partiality and cannot be bribed. He ensures that orphans and widows receive justice. He shows love to the foreigners living among you and gives them food and clothing. You too must show love to foreigners. For you yourselves were once foreigners in the land of Egypt. You must fear the Lord your God and worship him and cling to him. Your oaths must be in his name alone. He alone is your God, the only one who is worthy of your praise, the one who has done these mighty miracles that you have seen with your own eyes. When your ancestors went down into Egypt, there was only 70 of them. But now the Lord your God has made you as numerous as the stars in the sky. There were more than 70, but, sure. There were 70 that could be counted among the men of the tribes of Israel. I guess we're not counting the women and children. I don't know why. Well, anyway, there were technically more than 70, but I'm not gonna harp. I'm not gonna harp on it. I'm just gonna move on. You must love the Lord your God and always obey his requirements, decrees, regulations, and the commands. Keep in mind that I am not talking now to your children who have never experienced the discipline of the Lord your God or seen his greatness and his strong hand and powerful arm. They didn't see the miraculous signs and wonders he performed in Egypt against Pharaoh and all his land. They didn't see what the Lord did to the armies of the armies of Egypt and to their horses and chariots. How he drowned them in the Red Sea as they were chasing you. He destroyed them, and they have not recovered to this very day. Your children didn't see how the Lord cared for you in the wilderness until you arrived here. They didn't see how he did to Dathan and Abiram. Didn't see what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, a descendant of Reuben, when the earth opened. When the earth opened its mouth in the Israelite camp and swallowed them along with their households and tent and everything that belonged to them. But you have seen the Lord perform all these mighty deeds with your own eyes. The blessings of obedience. You know what's funny? Is that a lot of people are like, oh, I can't. I need to see it to believe it, and I just don't. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. A lot of people are like, oh, I need to see it to believe it. Like, I can't see God, so how do I know He's there? I don't believe that you need to. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Because if it was as simple as I need to see it to believe it, the Israelites wouldn't have had the difficulty that they had in believing. Belief isn't in vision. It's something else, and there's a component to belief that we don't understand. Because if it's I need to see it to believe it, there's a good chance that stubbornness is like I need to experience it to believe it, or like then you experience it and it doesn't quite sink in. Because then like you can hear about it. If you hear about it, would you believe it? No. If you saw it, would you believe it? Would you think you're being like scammed some way, or like it just wouldn't resonate with you as much because you saw it? But like, I need to see God to believe God. But like, there are people out there, way back when, who's experienced that, who's seen that, they've seen the power, they've seen the pillar, they've seen the fire, they've seen it, and still do not believe it. You saw it with your own eyes. Like, now listen. Therefore, what was it? Therefore, change your hearts and obey. What did it say? I lost where I was. My bad. Therefore, change your hearts and stop being stubborn. Okay. The blessings of obedience. Therefore, be careful to obey every command I have given you today, so you may have strength to go in and take over the land you are about to enter. If you obey, you will enjoy a life in the land the Lord swore to give you and your ancestors and to their descendants. I'm sorry. You will enjoy the life in the land the Lord swore to give to your ancestors and to you, their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land you are about to enter and take over is not like the land of Egypt from which you came, where you planted your seed and made irrigation ditches with your foot as in a vegetable garden. Rather, the land you will soon take over is a land of hills and valleys with plenty of rain, a land that the Lord your God cares for. Oh! He watches over it through each season of every year. Do you know how easy he's trying to express? Like you don't have to plant your own irrigation system. You don't have to plant your own seeds and all of that. Maybe because the land is filled with hills, valleys, and there are plenty of rain. But better yet, it's a land that the Lord your God cares for. He's watering your crops. He's making your land fertile. He's making the ground soft enough to till. He's making it green and lush. He's keeping the waters purified. He's doing it. Because he is the caretaker of the land. I want land like that. I want land. I want land. And I want land that God cares for. I just want land. I want it. I want it. Okay. If you carefully obey the commands I am giving you today, and if you love the Lord your God and serve him with all of your heart and soul, then he will send the rains in their proper seasons, the early and late rains, so that you can bring in your harvest of grain, new wine, and olive oil. He will give you lush pasture land for your livestock, and you yourselves will have all you want to eat. But be careful. Don't let your heart be deceived so that you turn away from the Lord and serve and worship other gods. If you do, the Lord's anger will burn against you. He will shut up the sky and hold back the rain, and the ground will fail to produce its harvest. Then you will quickly die in the good land the Lord is giving you. So commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these words of mine. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your foreheads as reminders. Teach them to your children. Talk about them when you are at home and when you are on the road, when you are going to bed and when you are getting up. Write them on your doorposts of your homes, of your houses, and on your gates, so that as long as the sky remains above the earth, you and your children may flourish in the land that the Lord swore to give your ancestors. Be careful to obey all these commands I am giving you. Show love to the Lord your God his by walking in his ways and holding tightly to him. Walking in his ways and holding tightly to him. Then the Lord will drive out all the nations ahead of you, though they are much greater and stronger than you, and you will take over their land. Wherever you set foot, the land will be yours. Your frontiers will stretch from the wilderness in the south to Lebanon in the north, and from the Euphrates River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. No one will be able to stand against you, for the Lord your God will cause the people to fear and dread you, as he promised, in wherever you go in the whole land. Look, today I am giving you a choice between a blessing and a curse. You will be blessed if you obey the commands of the Lord your God that I am giving you today, but you will be cursed if you reject the commands of the Lord your God and turn away from him and worship gods you have not known before. When the Lord your God brings you into the land and helps you take possession of it, you pronounce the blessing of Mount Gerizim and the curse of Mount Elba. The two mountains are west of the Jordan River in the land of the Canaanites, who live in the Jordan Valley near the Tower of Gilgal, not far from the oaks of Moreh. For you are about to cross the Jordan River to take over the land the Lord your God is giving you. When you take the land and you're living in it, you must be careful to obey the decrees and regulations that I am giving you today, the Lord's chosen place for worship. These are the decrees and regulations you must be careful to obey when you live in the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. You must obey them as long as you live. When you drive out the nations that live there, you must destroy all the places where they worship their gods, high on the mountains, up on the hills, and under every green tree. Break down their altars and smash their sacred pillars. Burn their Asherah poles and cut down their carved idols. Completely erase the names of their gods. Do not worship the Lord your God in the way these pagan peoples worship their gods. Rather, you must seek the Lord your God at the place of worship he himself will choose from among all the tribes. The place where his name will be honored. So he himself will choose a place in all of the tribes. So because all the tribes will have their own land plot, so he himself is going to choose a church spot for all of them. Okay. There you will bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your sacred offerings, your offerings to fulfill a vow, your voluntary offerings, and your offerings of the firstborn animal of your herds and flocks. There you and your families will feast in the presence of the Lord your God, and you will rejoice in all you have accomplished because the Lord your God has blessed you. You and your families will feast in the presence of the Lord. Okay. Your pattern of worship will change. Today, all of you are doing as you please, because you have not yet arrived at the place of rest, the land the Lord your God is giving you as your special possession. But you will soon cross the Jordan River and live in the land the Lord your God is giving you. When he gives you rest from all your enemies, and you're living safely in the land, you must bring everything I command you: your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your sacred offerings, and your offerings to fulfill a vow, to the designated place of worship, the place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored. You must celebrate there in the presence of the Lord your God with your sons and daughters and all your servants. And remember to include the Levites who live in your towns, for they will receive no allotment of land among you. Be careful not to sacrifice your burnt offerings just anywhere you like. You may do so only at the place the Lord will choose within one of your tribal territories. There you must offer your burnt offerings and do everything I command you. But you may butcher your animals and eat their meat in town whenever you want. You may freely eat the animals with which the Lord your God blesses you. All of you, whether ceremonially clean or unclean, may eat the meat, just as... Yeah, okay. You may freely eat animals in which the Lord your God blesses you. And with which... Oh, yeah, make offerings in special places, but you can butcher your animals and eat wherever. Okay, understood. And you can eat freely whether you're clean or unclean. You may eat the meat, just as you now eat gazelle and deer. But you must not consume the blood. You must pour it out on the ground like water. But you may not eat your offerings in your hometown, neither the tithes of your grain and new wine and olive oil, nor the firstborn of your flocks and herds, nor any offering to fulfill a vow, nor your voluntary offerings, nor your sacred offerings. You must eat these in the presence of the Lord your God at the place he will choose. Eat them there with your children, your servants, and the Levites who live in your town, celebrating in the presence of the Lord your God in all you do. And be very careful, never to neglect the Levites as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God expands your territory as he has promised, and you have the urge to eat meat, you may freely eat meat whenever you want. It might happen at the designated place of worship, the place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored, is a long way from your home. If so, you may butcher any of the cattle, sheep, or goats that the Lord has given you, and you may freely eat the meat in your hometown, as I have commanded you. Anyone, whether ceremonially clean or unclean, may eat that meat, just as you do now with gazelle and deer. But never consume the blood, for the blood is the life, and you must not consume the lifeblood with the meat. Never consume the blood, for the blood is life, and you may not consume consume the blood. For the blood is life, and you may not consume the life blood. It's essentially a case for well done steaks. Like, I hate to say it, but that's what I'm hearing. Oh, raw meat. Is tartar? How do you spell that? Is it K-E-B-B-B-E? No, there's something else then. K-I-B-B-E-H. Lebanese cuisine. Yeah, hold on. Kifo. Minced raw beef marinated. So good though. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. I got sidetracked by food. I know. Um. Sad. This is sad. Deuteronomy 12:24. Instead, pour out the blood on the ground like water. Do not consume the blood, so that all may go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what pleases the Lord. Take your sacred gifts. Sorry, yeah. Take your sacred gifts and your offerings giving to fulfill a vow to the place the Lord chooses. You must offer the meat and blood of your burnt offerings on the altar of the Lord your God. The blood of your other sacrifices must be poured out on the altar of the Lord your God, but you may eat the meat. Be careful to obey my command. Be careful to obey all my commands, so that all will go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is good and pleasing to the Lord your God. When the Lord your God goes ahead of you and destroys the nations, and you drive them out and live in their land, do not fall into the trap of following their customs and worshiping their gods. Do not inquire about their gods, saying, how do these nations worship their gods? I want to follow their example. You must not worship the Lord your God the way the other nations worship their gods, for they perform for their gods every detestable act that the Lord hates. They even burn their sons and daughters as sacrifices to their gods. So be careful to obey all the commands I give you. You must not add You must not add anything to them or subtract anything from them. You must not add anything or subtract anything. Don't try to make it convenient for you. The rules are the rules. They're the rules, you know. The commands are the commands. They are as they are. Don't go trying to change them with, but what if we do it this way? So then now it's just a question of like how much the Old Testament gets superseded by the New Testament. You know, like what stays, what goes, what changes, how. We'll figure it all out when we actually get into the New Testament. But like, yeah, because that's like huge, huge theological debate right there, right? Like New Testament, Old Testament, how much of it do you follow? You know, because then it's like picking and choosing. Like, you know, I'm just here to read. I don't have answers in this regard. I'm just here to read. Psalms 56 for the choir director, a psalm of David regarding the time the Philistines seized him in Gath, to be sung to the tune of Dove on the Distant Oaks. O God, have mercy on me, for the people are hounding me. My foes attack me all day long. I am constantly hounded by those who slander me, and many are boldly attacking me. But when I am afraid, I will put my trust in you. I will praise God for what he has promised. I trust in God, so why should I be afraid? You just said, but when I'm afraid, I trust in God. Okay, alright. What can mere mortals do to me? They are always twisting what I say. They spend their days plotting to harm me. They come together to spy on me, watching my every step, eager to kill me. Don't tell them to get away. Don't let them get away with their wickedness. In your anger, O God, bring them down. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. My enemies will retreat when I call to you for help. This I know. God is on my side. I praise God for what he has promised. Yes, I praise the Lord for what he has promised. I trust in God, so why should I be afraid? What can mere mortals do to me? I will fulfill my vows to you, O God, and will offer a sacrifice of thanks for your help. For you have rescued me from death, and you have kept my feet from slipping. So now I will walk in your presence, O God, in your life-giving light. And yeah, so my takeaway. Do I have a takeaway? I feel like we're revisiting stuff in Deuteronomy, so there's not much to take away. Um, in the steps, not necessarily. I don't know if I should call them steps. This better not be a call. Oh my god, there's a tickle. There's a tickle in the back of my throat, and I just. I'm gonna go pop some immune boost. I'm tired of people showing up to my job sick. I don't understand why they would do that. Because immunity is not my strong suit right now. And I just. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's alright. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a tickle. I'm gonna Haitian. And I'm gonna pop it right out, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay. My takeaway, yes, it's love. It's understanding what fear is or reverence. Um, yeah, I'm actually gonna write that down. I think fear should be translated reverence. Rev, rev, yeah. What did it say? To love? No, to fear God. What? What song was that? What number? I mean, wow. Now Israel. Okay, the call to love and obedience. It's now. What does He require of you? And it's Deuteronomy 10, 12 to 13. Copy, please. Copy. Yeah, I think it's really important to understand what your love for God is gonna look like, and how far you're gonna let that drive your decisions. Yeah, yeah, I really gonna need to know what my love for God is gonna look like, and how far I will let that drive me, because I don't want some half-assed version of love. On top of that, I'm gonna ask, like, is this really, like, if someone was showing this love to me, would I feel it? Would it suffice for me? Because then I think that helps me make decisions that don't feel so, like, enigmatic, rather than I can actually get my head around it. Like, if I know what I know about the person I care about, and I know what I know about me, and if somebody were to make these decisions, knowing what they know exactly how they know me, how, would I be like, oh, you made that decision out of your love for me? Yes. Would I be able to feel it? That's what I'm going to try to use in my decision making logic. We are in the next day, and we are done.